Mike Snyder, 10 Beach Cove. The reason I'm here tonight solely was for the issues of the parking. There's 3 parking areas in Brigantine that are surrounded by commercial properties. One is in between Ocean Beverage and Andre's Restaurant. There's construction offices, there's restaurants, there's a liquor store, there's real estate offices, there's a bunch of different businesses that have the opportunity to use that property. The next property is across from the Civic Center. There's a marina, there's multifamily housing units, there's residential people, there's the VFW, and there's other businesses in that area that have the opportunity to use that area. And then the most recent is the Triangle at around 30th and Brigantine Avenue, which has a real estate office, a restaurant, bakery, and several other businesses around it. I've come here several times talking about the parcel of real estate that abuts the City Public Works building. There's a real estate office, there's a restaurant, there's a construction company, there's a marina, there's all the same exact businesses that operate around these other businesses that the city has put out public parking at no cost to the businesses, and just an opportunity for the city to come and use these businesses. But we have the property behind these other businesses that I'm talking about along Public Works that you're talking about charging the different owners to use these properties, and I don't understand it. I came here in July offering to pay the $3,000 a year and offer another $3,000 to make improvements to the area, and then I came a month ago just asking to see what happened, and now I'm here to try to understand, and I'd like each council person to give me see what their thoughts are on how you can offer free and public parking for the good of the business of Brigantine in 3 separate areas, but then there's this one area that you're trying to create leases, you're putting out for bid. We're all the same business. We're all trying to struggle in Brigantine. There's no reason why one real estate office should have to pay for parking and another one doesn't, or one marina does and another marina doesn't, or one restaurant does, another restaurant. We're all struggling. I'm currently building Stake 38, and it's going to be a restaurant, it's going to be a bar, it's going to be it's going to be an attraction, okay? But understand, in the winter, for 9 months out of the year, we're going to shut down 75% of it, okay? In order to make it survive, okay? When we're open, we're going to employ 100 people in the good months and maybe 30 people in the bad months, and all these other businesses, the marinas and real estate offices and restaurants, they all suffer the same fate. These, whatever the bills are, it's hard to pay them. I'm not trying to create a business for the rest of my life. I'm trying to create a business I can sell to somebody else, and then they can sustain themselves. They can operate in Brigantine. You've seen all these restaurants that are just, the doors are closed. Other businesses, the doors are closed. Look around. There's nothing happening. But I want to start, Mr. Pillow, and I want to work my way down. And I want you guys to tell me what your thoughts are on why there's three great parking areas that help, and yet we're having lawyers develop leases, and we're going to vote. We're going to have bids. If it's a bidding process, then one business is going to have the opportunity to use it, and other businesses aren't. It's not fair. Every business along that there's business, there's multifamily housing, there's people that need it. You're trying, a public safety issue is to keep these cars off the street on a high-speed road. So why can't we just open this up for the good of it? I'll pay for the fence along the entire property. I don't mind spending the money. It's the principle of the matter, okay? I'll have it done in the next couple of weeks. We can be done with this. I can ask for some help from other people that, if they want to help. If not, it's okay. I'll talk to my partner. Maybe we'll pay for it. But please, help me out here. And why are we doing this? Why are we having this conversation again?
All right. There are, the one inequity that I see, and we tried to address this the last time, is the public parking across from the Civic Center. That's a city-owned property.
It was bought with Green Acres money, so we have to be careful what we do with that.
I'm not certain how that was purchased. I'm not aware of that. I'm talking about across from the old Civic Center?
Correct.
Okay. So that's city-owned, and
we need that. I don't want you guys to sell it.
Pretty much.
I lived across the street. That area needs it.
Okay.
And that's what another marina is going to suffer.
I'm trying to address it. It is true that there is a marina that has been parking there for free, and when we did the leases last time, I know that some people from the public, and of course I spoke to the city manager, that that marina also should probably have to pay for spaces across the street. That's that one property. In the center of town, that was purchased by the city some years ago. I wasn't on council at that time. That property was purchased by the city. I don't know whether they got Green Acres money or not. I'm sure the mayor could probably give you more information on that. That is public parking for anybody that goes in the central business district there. It's not for one individual property.
Absolutely.
It's on a first-come, first-served basis. In front of the old Jack's Pharmacy, that property's been there for as long as I've been in town. I've been here for 35 years, so I don't know the genesis of that. Don't know how that happened.
But each one of these areas is a positive.
Then I will get to the area where you are. Stake 38, back in 1987, expanded, and that's about a 13,000 square foot building.
Mm-hmm.
And in order for them to expand, they needed X amount of spaces, and you're aware of this because any business that expands has to go in front of the planning board, and you have to make a presentation and show how you are going to be able to allow patrons to park. In 1987, they entered into a lease, not necessarily with the city. They said that they were going to enter into a lease for the additional spaces that they needed. Ultimately, they rented from the city and apparently a private lot as well. So they have been paying a lease for the property that the city owns for 26 years, 27 years.
There was two
The
10-year
Lighthouse
leases.
Plaza has been paying a lease for those properties for
And
the
they're not
past
paying, this year they're going to be exempt from that. They're not paying.
for the past 30 years. So you're coming up here bringing up a point, and I'm sure that council will discuss it in executive. But you asked me to, as well as I do, that any business that wants to expand has to go in front of the planning board. If they don't meet the criteria of parking, they have to make stipulations and appeal to the planning board because of a lack of parking. But at the end of the day, positive criteria versus negative criteria, and they make those decisions. But with those properties that you're referring to, those businesses there have been paying rent for nearly 30 years.
What happens if nobody pays for the rent? Are you going to have people ticketed and towed?
Pardon?
If it comes up for a bid and we all decide that we're not going to bid on it, are you going to have people ticketed and towed for the public?
That's something that would have, if somebody makes a complaint, I'm sure that would happen.
Okay, Dr. Kern, what's your thoughts on this?
There are areas there are municipal.
How is
lots-
one different than the other?
Pardon me?
How is this one area different than these other free public
There,
areas that's for business in Brigantine?
are you going to let me?
Yes,
Is it my turn?
it is.
There are other municipal lots in this community that are rented to businesses for parking. For instance, we have a lot near the 42nd Street water tower, and businesses rent space there to store trailers and other equipment that they use on a once in a while, or trucks that they use once in a while. We also have another area that I'm trying to remember where it is that we rent for parking. But the longevity of this particular parcel that you're talking about, it came with a stipulation that that building had to go out and get extra parking.
Mm-hmm.
You were aware of that when you purchased the building. I'm sure that with your due diligence, you knew that that was part of the purchase. So it's been in effect for 30 years or close to it. I see no reason to change that. There are lots of businesses there. Oh, the other lot, I'm sorry, is the lot that the municipality rents to the wave station. So we also lease that lot. So there are precedents for leasing public parking, if you will, in the city. There are also precedents for not. You've brought some of those up to our attention. But that's, you asked what my decision-making process is. That's my decision-making
The
process.
two lots you talked about are for long-term storage.
Pardon me?
The two lots that you mentioned are for long-term storage facility type. they're not like kind with regard to the business district. Ocean Beverage sold its parking lot, gave up every spot that it had of off-street parking. It gave up and sold it, and the buyer was the city of Brigantine to help other businesses. I'll lease the property, I'll buy the property, I'll fence the whole property, and I'm talking about the rest of the people that need it. Why should I own it and have use for it when other people can use it? Fish Finder can use it during the day, the Lighthouse Plaza can use it, the Prudential Real Estate Office can use it.
We would like everybody to be able to.
But you have the ability to change things and have 4 parking lots in Brigantine that are for the good of Brigantine and businesses in Brigantine.
But Mike, the businesses that you mentioned are all ready, willing, and able to bid on the minimum bid.
Because they have to, because they don't feel like they don't want to. I've talked to these people, and they don't. It's not something they want to do.
Well, listen, we would all like something for nothing, but none of those other businesses have expressed that to me.
So should we change the Ocean Beverage parking lot to by permit only? I mean, the beach parking next to Laguna is, after 6, they have the ability to use it, which is great. That's what they should have. During the day, it's by permit. I mean, these are just short-term parking spaces. You know. Mr. Gunther?
Mike, well, I was here for I wasn't here for the 87 lease, but I was here for the Ocean Beverage lease. And a lot of these things happen as a result of something that is going on that, quite frankly, the only way to solve that problem was that the city bought the lot and got it for a very good price and was able to make it a municipal lot. And what I'm talking about is there was no cooperation there between the businesses. So one business owned the property and would not allow anyone going into one of the other businesses to park in the lot, which caused all kinds of issues and sent the wrong message to people coming to Brigantine if they got towed, or and towing was, of course, the biggest issue. So, you know, I supported buying that lot, and I think it was a good thing to do because it really helps out in that area. And the issue you bring up, though, and Jack's Pharmacy's been there as long as I can remember. It's a little different configuration now than it was, but the issue you bring up is one that has me thinking that, quite frankly, and this is something that we'll discuss in executive session, really makes me think a little differently about how we move forward with that. The only thing that complicates it is a planning board resolution that approved that in the first place, and that's something that I'm going to seek some direction from our solicitor on, you know, where we are with that. But, you know, the whole issue, first of all, you know, no amount of money when you're dealing with public funds is insignificant, but also, you know, being business friendly is a very important thing. And to be honest with you, most of those spaces behind there are empty. If you go there, the only time that they were busy was when Stake 38 was in business, and they didn't use all the spots all the time, you know, in that section. Their operation was a little bit different. They charged for parking. If you remember, they had valet parking, and they would charge people to park there. I'm not sure what the operation will be going forward with any new operator, but I think you make a compelling argument. So it's something I'm willing to listen to.
Thank you. Mr. Simpson?
Well, Fred, me and Mike were partners at one time, so if I'm going off the reservation, tell me, okay? And the other the property I own is the property that goes along with the planning board resolution back in '87. So his parking is part of mine over at Kenny's Auto and the Beachcomber building.
Councilman, if you wouldn't mind, maybe we could hold your comments for the moment.
Okay.
Mike, I want nothing more than for you to be successful in your business and all businesses on the island. And I'd like to do anything I can to help you be successful. As far as the history and leasing these lots, you know, I'm figuring it all out right now. I'm thinking, would you want spots exclusively for you, for your restaurant?
No. If I have to rent the entire parcel along the back of the public works, as far as I'm concerned, it's for the good of the public, and for Fish Finder, for the businesses behind Lighthouse Plaza, for Prudential. You know, I have to protect our interest, our investment. We're spending several $1 million And we're looking to protect you. You want to sell us the property, put a price on it. I cannot afford to have somebody try to bid on one piece, if we're the third parcel to go up for a vote and we wait till the end to vote for that or bid on that and we're unsuccessful. Had I known this going into this, Stake 38 would still be sitting empty. Okay? That's why it's sat empty since 2008. Because nobody had the guts to go after it and do what we're doing. And I come here and I ask for support and basically beg and plead. I don't need to, it's not for me. I'm trying to create a business that we can sell and that people can sustain themselves and they don't shut the doors in a year and a half and lose their homes. Everybody knows how business in Brigantine is. When I sold the seller, I knew that they could pay me and make enough money to make it worth their while. Okay? They have a neighbor, it's called CVS, best neighbor in the world. You go there, you can park in their lot. Terry and Larry Albany, we can park in their lot. We have that type of relationship in that area. With Stake 38, 7-Eleven, they allow us to park on the side of their building, and Andy's offered it, and the cleaners are fine. I mean, that's Brigantine. We have to be careful going forward with what happens with that parcel. Okay, if it's $3,000 a year, I'll spend more than that each year making improvements to that area. With your blessings, I offered that. So it's not all about the money. I'm not trying to get it for free. I'm just trying to just have an area that everybody can use.
And we appreciate it, and we appreciate that you offered to put up the fencing. I think we have a bigger issue with the fencing down there.
I was on the phone the other day getting prices on the fencing, on 8-foot, chain link, on 6-foot solid vinyl. I mean, I'm doing the research on it. Something's got to be done.
Yeah, I think we're looking at that. We're looking at the entire area that needs to be fenced.
Yeah.
Not just that one area.
No, but it's a start.
I'm sure tonight we'll discuss this with council.
Mr. Bacardi?
It's my turn.
Yes, sir.
As Lisa said, nobody wants to put obstacles in the way of your business or anybody else's. The way I've looked at it up to now is, historically, this has been the only thing that's been presented to us as a council. These spaces have always been leased, that's the way it is, and we are proceeding along the lines, for purely historical reasons. And that's it. But, no disrespect meant, but you're a businessman, you're not a missionary. You're looking to make money, and that's fine. There's no problem with that. But I'm sorry that you didn't come with a proposal like this from the beginning, and it probably would have been resolved a lot further down the line. But this is the first that we're hearing about this, and by all means we'll consider it, and consider it to the benefit, because remember, we have to balance your benefit and the benefit of the city, and that's what we'll try to do.
Mr. DeLucre.
Mike, you're selling stuff you don't need to sell to us. When you came to us months back, the idea then was that you were looking to get an exclusive over those particular spots next to your property. And my answer to you then was, for speaking for myself and for council as a whole, we have no problem with helping you out, but we couldn't do what you want us to do. We can't legally deal with one person and enter into a lease with them. The law says we have to go through a process, and the process says you got to put those spaces out. My assumption, as Joe just alluded to, was that for your business reasons, you were looking to get control of those spaces, and the longer the better. And I don't know all the particulars of the prior approval, but I've seen the prior approval, and I know that there was an agreement by the prior owner back when that they would control, or they would lease from the city a certain number of spaces, and they also had a great number of spaces at what was then vacant lot owned by Ben Lee at 38th Street, which has since become, as Andy says, Kenny's Garage. Those are issues I'm sure you'll deal with, and go to the planning board and make your case for them to lift it, and I wish you great success with that. But I had the assumption, based on what you said when you came in before, you were looking to control the spaces. If you'd prefer it to be a first come, first served, no charge to anybody, whoever uses the spaces, uses the spaces, as is done in the other lots, I'm absolutely willing to consider that. That piece behind yours and the piece behind the wave, my assumption was because you have, an imminent business and an ongoing business, they wanted long-term security. Again, but that's your call. If that's not something that you want,
Can I ask you a question? Can we create a lease for that area directly behind Stake 38 and leave the rest of it from Stake 38 up to the Prudential Building, open to the public, where then there's no leases created for that area? I'll pay for the lease behind my area. Then they don't have to pay, and the rest of the people don't have to pay and worry about that area.
So,
Fish Finder will know he's got enough spots when he needs it. If Lighthouse Plaza needs some spots, if Prudential Parkers, the realtors need a couple spots behind their building, we can take care of the whole area. Just let us, one person pay, just for that one area. And if you're saying I'm the only person that really needs it, then just do it, just me.
well, again, if
Can we
that's
do that?
something- We can go, even wrote down 5 different ways it could go. One of which, and you could tell me if this is of interest to you, and again, because you and the Wave would really be the only two that this would maybe be of interest to, and that would be an outright purchase. Now, again,
I would entertain that.
That would have to be, by legal procedures, but, at least in theory, my understanding from a brief discussion with our solicitor, who was trying to hide from this, was that it is possible, or will be possible, to subdivide that strip of the public works yard that contains those spaces right behind your restaurant, and then that could be offered to the public. I'll assume, but I don't know, that nobody else would have an interest in buying that besides you. I would have no problem with that, because that gives you, I would think, a lot more long-term certainty and adds to the value of your property for a future buyer. So, certainly consider that. I would also consider what you just suggested, offer only the one parcel behind your property for lease. And I take it from your suggesting that you're comfortable with the idea that when it went to auction, you'd be able to secure the rights to that space. I have no issue with that either. The point from back when was, contrary to what I read in some of the local news outlets, we were looking for the best way to help Mike Snyder get where he needs to be. Mike Snyder, I thought, needed long-term security in as many spaces as he could get. But if you're happy with, the less long-term security of a lease, that's fine by me.
Like I said, if it could just be us paying for whatever area that you offer to us, and then if we could clean up the rest of that strip and just have it for open parking for the public where nobody else has to pay. Lighthouse Plaza needs very little. Fish Finder's got 3 months out of the year. He needs very little. And
And I agree with you. There's probably a pretty good chance that if we put at least that parcel behind the Lighthouse out, nobody's going to be interested in it.
no. And
Now, and I would remind you too, although in the first time you were here, your proposal was an attractive one in terms of, offering to make capital improvements to the fencing at the yard, that for the same reason that we couldn't deal directly with you as an individual versus offering it to the public at large, so we couldn't do that. But nothing prevents you from volunteering under any circumstances to finance as a gift the cost of any fencing.
it will be taken care of.
The other thing is maybe when I ask John Doring, in terms of use down there, because you're there every day, with Stake 38 not being open, do you see anybody parking here?
No, I don't see many people parking back there. There was some construction
Yeah.
guys parking back there, but no, it's been vacant for a while.
Even in the summer, you see anything?
I believe there was some cars back there from Fish Finder.
Right. But not, there were open spots.
Correct.
Okay. Interestingly enough, as you know, Mike, with parking, we have a municipal lot across the street, and I know it has a lot of municipal stuff in there and some employee parking, but people don't like to walk. It's if they can't park right in front of the place, we don't see a lot of people parking there and going to the central business district. And we've had signage on that before. We've tried to encourage people to park there. And maybe that'll change if that area gets even more popular.
Yeah. Guys, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike.
Appreciate it.
Okay.